Superman is the first movie in James Gunn's new DC universe, and this movie has been receiving tons of praise. And of course, as the DC fan I am, and after all the trash DCEU movies we got, I wanted to see how this movie would turn out. And this movie was Superman. Shut your fuck! This film follows Superman, 3 years into his superhero life, going up to the nefarious billionaire Lex Luthor, who will stop at nothing to take down Superman. So for this review, we're actually going to be having 6 categories. Action, writing and acting, by the way, writing and acting is 1. Positives and negatives, cameos, and post-credit scene breakdown. And I know that sounds incredibly stupid, but just play along with it. First off is the action, and the action in this movie is so cool, it feels just like a comic book. Nearing the end of the movie, there's this really one standout scene where Lex Luthor sends a bunch of troops to kill Superman, and Superman just flies up and knocks a dude's teeth out. I'm sure you've seen that scene. More troops swarm around Superman, and he just uses his heat vision to slice them all. It's so cool. The scene is incredibly unrealistic, but it's just so cool and I loved it. Next up is the overall writing and acting. For this writing segment, I will be talking about the plot and the characters' writing. With the plot, I'll be quick. The plot's writing is good, but it has a lot going on and with multiple side stories all at the same time. One really important thing revolving the plot is the twist revealing that Superman's parents are evil and his birth message gets leaked. I was kinda mixed on this because his parents aren't supposed to be evil, and the film never clears up if the message was faked. And it wasn't, so it was kind of confusing, but the rest of the positives outshine this con. Now for the characters of writing. You might want to sit down because I'm going to be talking for quite a bit. The characters are written phenomenally. The standouts, which are also the main characters of the movie, Superman and Lex. Superman, unlike Zack Snyder's take, is more hopeful and colorful. Like in this movie, this guy saves the entire city from a kaiju, including a squirrel. My guy saves a squirrel. And with Lex, he's written perfectly in this movie. In this movie, Lex is just a D1 hater for no reason. Now talking about Lex, this is a really good way to transition into the acting segment because with the actor of Lex, Nicholas Hoult, he plays Lex perfectly. His performance and the writing combined will make this version of Lex the best we have ever seen and will go down as one of the best comic book villains I've ever seen in history. Okay, I'm glazing. David Cornswear and Rachel Brosnahan also have some of the best portrayals in the movie, mainly when it comes to line delivery. There's this one scene in the movie where Clark agrees to be interviewed by Lois, and they start arguing, and the way they argue just feels so real and sparks up a lot of emotions. At the end of the movie, Superman also gives a monologue to Lex Luthor about how Superman is basically as human as anyone, and the things he says and how he delivers it just makes me feel it makes me feel something, and I love this movie. Next up is the positive and negatives. And now, you already sat down. I think it's time you should get a snack, because I might talk for a little bit longer. Starting with the positives, this movie is unrealistic in a very good way, and it embraces its comic aesthetic, especially with the fight scenes, stuff like that, as I said. They're so unrealistic, it's just so cool. Because nowadays, we get some goofy fight scenes. And these fight scenes are definitely not goofy, but they're very animated and so fun. The writing is also a pretty big positive. I've already talked about the writing, so I'm not gonna go any further, but I said what I said. James Gunn's take on Superman is also very bright and hopeful, and I really like it. Compared to Zack Snyder's, I think I really like this take of Superman. I also really like the meta references they had in this movie. There's this one scene where Superman gets trapped in Lex Luthor's pocket universe, and he has a bunch of monkeys strapped to some computers posting hate about Superman online, which references the Snyder fans so much. Please don't attack me. And the last of my positives is the acting and plot. And no, I'm not going to go further into this, but I will say that the plot is in here because I liked most of it, but I'm still very mixed on it. That's why it's at the bottom of my positives. But now, on to the negatives. Alright, starting off with the negatives, I think that this movie has too much going on. I've already mentioned this, but this movie has too many plot points, and it can be really distracting and hard to take in sometimes. One thing I haven't heard people talk about is how the cuts and transitions between scenes are really weird. Apparently this movie was supposed to have day transitions, which I can see why it's so weird now. It's because those were cut out, but either way, it's really goofy. In my opinion, I think the CGI can look kind of goofy sometimes. Obviously there's this one scene where Superman face looks weird when he's flying, and James Gunn stated that he cut that scene out. But all he did was just change the direction of his face. It didn't change a lot, but I can't really hate anymore. I don't really care that much. Some scenes are kind of hard to look at, but I don't really care. It's the CGI doesn't really like annoy me that much, so I'm fine with it. And the last negative I have is the tone, because this movie has a really good tone, but sometimes when they like talk seriously in the movie, they always cut to like some kind of joke. I'm gonna use this as an example. So Superman's talking to Lex Luthor about how he's like very human and like he's basically as human as anyone, right? I already mentioned that. But after that scene, Crypto just jumps Lex Luthor and like throws him on glass or something. Like, I know it's supposed to be funny, but wrong time, dude. What are you doing, James Gunn? But now onto the cameos, and this is gonna be really quick. In the first cameo we have is actually Peacemaker, and my theater was very empty, so no one cheered, but I did let out like a little gasp, because I didn't expect Peacemaker to be in here. I didn't even know he was in the DCU, so that's new. We also have James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn, who is Maxwell Lord in this movie, which I wasn't really surprised about, but it's whatever. Another cameo that we have, which I don't know if I can count as a cameo, it's Bradley Cooper as Jor-El, as Superman's dad. Which, I mean, I don't know if it's a cameo, it's just that we didn't know that it was gonna be him. But yeah, I'm gonna count him anyway. Next one we have is William Reeve, who was actually in the background of like some kind of news report when Superman was fighting a kaiju in the movie. And it's a good way to honor Christopher Reeve. Last cameo that we have, which I think should have been saved for a post-credit scene or something, is Supergirl. Supergirl is in this movie. Millie Alcock is in this movie. I don't know. I mean, I liked how she was in the movie. Like, her personality is actually really comic accurate in this movie, and we only saw like a minute of her. And yeah, she's fine. Wait, no. She's okay in the movie. I didn't really care that much, but it should have been saved for some kind of post-credit scene, I think, because it feels kind of off just to have her at the end of the movie. But hey, I don't care. I can't wait for her movie. Our last category before we move on to the conclusion of this review is the post-credit scene breakdowns. The first post-credit scene shows Superman and Krypto sitting on the moon. That's literally it. There's no dialogue, there's no nothing. It's nothing important, but it's really nice, and honestly, it could be a good wallpaper. The second post-credit scene at the very end of the credits shows Superman pointing out a mistake that Mr. Terrific made while restoring a building's position after the rip in Metropolis. So yeah, it's nothing really important. It's kind of like a funny gag, but yeah, you don't even need to stay back. To conclude this review, I think that this movie is a perfect start to the DCU, and James Gunn has done a really good job with directing this movie, and I love this movie so much. If I were to rate this movie, I'm gonna give this movie a whopping 10 out of 10. This movie is my favorite movie of the year, and I know I say that all the time, but this time I actually really mean it. But yeah, this movie is amazing. I heavily recommend that you go see this movie. I don't care what you're doing. Stop doing it. Buy a ticket. Go see this movie right now. I wish I could talk more about this movie, but I gotta get back to the fray.
You must rest.
No can do, for I gotta get back to the fray.
And I'll see you guys soon. Peace.